You might ask yourself, why in the world would I watch a video on how to pressure cook chickpeas? Well, let me tell you, it's a little bit more interesting than you may think because there are different timings, different ingredients, different liquids that you'll add depending on the result you want. And I'm gonna go over all of that in this video. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today's recipe is very simple. It is 2 ingredients, chickpeas, and either water or chicken stock, which we're gonna get into in just a minute. Now, I'm using the Ninja Foodi 6.5 quart pressure cooker, and I'm only using the pressure cook setting, so you can use any Instant Pot, any type of electric pressure cooker that you want to. You can also do this process on the stove, but it is pretty different than the way you do it in the pressure cooker. So I'm not even gonna get into that because there's so many variables to using the pressure cooker that I found during my testing. So first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and get this started and explain why I'm using the ingredients I am and the timing. So what I have here is 1 cup of dried chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Same thing, they're exactly the same thing. Put those into the pressure cooker, and I'm gonna add in 2 cups of chicken stock. Put that in. And now we are gonna put the lid on. Turn the valve, make sure the valve is to the seal position, which is in the middle here. Turn the Ninja Foodi on. We're gonna select pressure, high is what we want, and the timing is 30 minutes. And hit start. Okay, so you might say, well, that's all I need to know. See you later. However, it's not all you need to know because what I'm doing with these chickpeas is different or maybe different than what you're gonna do with your chickpeas. And that will change whether you put chicken stock, whether you put water, whether you add salt or different kinds of seasonings, whether or not you put in 3 cups of liquid, all kinds of different things. And whether or not you set your timing to 30 minutes, 35, or 45 minutes. Okay, so let's get started with that because this is what I consider the fun part. What I'm making is air fryer chickpeas, so crunchy chickpeas. So I go for 30 minutes with a full natural release, and then when they're done, I put them into a bowl of ice water to shock them, to stop the cooking process, to keep them slightly firm. I mean, they're cooked. They're cooked all the way through, but they stay slightly firm so that then when I drain the water off, dry them a little bit, put some oil and some seasonings on, I can throw them into my air fryer and in just a few minutes have an amazing, delicious snack. So that's the timing, and the chicken stock helps to infuse flavor into the chickpea. The one thing that I don't like about the crunchy chickpeas that you can buy in the grocery store is the fact that they have this weird aftertaste, and I'm just not a fan of it. But I found if I added chicken stock and cook them with that instead of just plain water, really they get a nice flavor on the inside. Then you season them up with whatever you want, air fry them, and oh my gosh, they are so, so good. All right, so that's 30-minute pressure cook, 2 cups of liquid chicken stock. Now, if you're using chicken stock or chicken broth, do not add salt. They will become saltier than you can imagine. And it was very interesting because my first test, I added some salt, I don't know, half of a teaspoon, thinking, oh, I really want to infuse flavor. They were over salted for sure. Now, if you wanted to add water, let's say you don't have chicken stock, you want to add water and you want to add some flavor in, absolutely. Add in a half to 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt. You can even add in some other spices. You could add in cumin. You can add in, smoked paprika. So you can really get creative with that, okay? So add in your spices if you're using water. Don't add in any salt if you're using chicken stock, okay? So when would you use water instead of chicken stock? Well, when you don't want the flavor of chicken, if you're doing something that's vegetarian or vegan, if you want to make a hummus that has flavors that might not go with a chicken stock flavor, stick with water. Add a little bit of salt, and if you want to make a hummus, okay, which is going to be a softer spread with your chickpeas, you are going to pressure cook 45 minutes with a 10-minute natural release. That will give you the best consistency. As a matter of fact, if you just want a quick side dish of chickpeas, Put in 2 cups of chicken stock, 1 cup of the dried chickpeas. Pressure cook for 45 minutes, 10-minute natural release. Take them out, add in some butter, and then of course any other seasonings, and they are creamy, delicious. Oh my gosh, they were amazing. But they were not good for air fryer chickpeas because they were too soft. All right, the next thing you can do is a 35-minute pressure cook time. And I recommend that if you wanted to, let's say, toss them in some fresh herbs and a little bit of, an olive oil and have them as a side dish, not mush, not a spread, not soft, but a side dish of chickpeas. Maybe you wanted to make like a cilantro lime dressing and toss them in that and serve them as a side dish. Makes a wonderful, either warm or cold, spring, summer type of dish, okay? I absolutely love chickpeas, and I don't like the canned kind because they're just their texture is just a little bit off, but you control that when you pressure cook them. All right, so I'm starting to see some steam come out, and that means that we're gonna go under pressure in just a minute. I will pressure cook for 30 minutes. I will do a full natural release, and then I'm gonna have a whole bowl of ice water so that I can shock them. All right, so our pin just dropped, and now that means we can open up the lid. Now, it will take somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes for that to happen, and I found that that's perfectly fine. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the lid, and we're gonna be surprised, or I think you'll be surprised, I should say, at all the liquid left. There's a good amount of liquid, probably 3/4 of a cup or so. And that's because there's little to no evaporation under pressure. But I still recommend giving the chickpeas the 2 full cups of water. So I'm gonna be using some to air fry, and then I'm also gonna just whip up like a quick little side dish for 1, okay? You could multiply this and taste it for you right now, but I'm gonna get some of them in here so that they will start to chill so that I can move on. I'm gonna be making a few different recipes with the chilled ones. All right, so let's go ahead and get these out. And they are, the thing that I like about this timing of the 30 minutes is that they're not, most of them are completely intact, okay? So they're not losing their outer shell, but yet they're still fully cooked. So this is the perfect timing for that. All right, now let's say we cooked them for 35, 45 minutes and we wanted to serve them as a hot side. What I recommend doing is getting some of the juice with it. So in this case, it's the chicken stock. So just pull up some and try to get some of the liquid here. And then what I have is just some roasted garlic and a little pat of butter. I'm gonna add these right in. And sort of just mash the butter into that liquid, mash the garlic a little bit, break open the chickpeas. And this works better if they're a little bit softer. And you can make the most delicious chickpea, like hot side dish, okay? So delicious. Oh my gosh, look at that. Now, of course, mine didn't break up because they were only cooked for 30 minutes. Oh my God. Except for being too firm. This is like the best flavor ever. So for this recipe, which is just not really a recipe, roasted garlic, some butter, maybe a little salt, I would definitely do the 45-minute with a 10-minute natural release. Your chickpeas are gonna be amazing. If you wanted a cold salad that weren't quite as crunchy, I would go with 35 minutes and a full natural release. All right, so there we go. Pressure cooking chickpeas, it's super easy. They're absolutely delicious, and there are tons of things that you can do with them. So next time you wanna make chickpeas or garbanzo beans, whatever you like to call them, don't grab the can, just grab the dried ones and make them at home.